Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Kiddushin. We are up to Perek Bet, Mishnah Chet. Today's Mishnayot should be Le'elu Nishmat, Neria ben Svetlana, Ranbai, Eliyahu ben Burchai, Israelov, Chana bad Miriam, Sason ben Raya, and Yehoshua ben Shifra, Menuchatam began Eden, Amen, and Avdu ben Chaim lechaim v'derefuah shenemav Daniel Shalom ben Rosa, Betor Shach Cholei Israel. The next three Mishnayot discuss whether certain items can be used for Kiddushin. This Mishnah focuses on sacred objects. Hamkadesh bechelko, if a Kohen betroths a woman with the portion he received from an offering. Certain parts of most offerings are given to Kohanim to eat. Parts of some offerings may be eaten by non-Kohanim as well. So if a Kohen betroths a woman with the portion he received from an offering, ben kodshe kodashim, ben kodashim kalim, whether if it is from Kodshe Kodashim, most holy offerings, or Kodashim Kalim, offerings of lesser holiness, all offerings belong to one of two groups. A, Kodshe Kodashim, such as the Chatat, Mincha, and Asham, which have a higher level of holiness and may be eaten only by Kohanim inside the temple courtyard. And B, Kodashim Kalim, such as the Shlamim and Todah, which have less holiness and may be eaten even by non-Kohanim anywhere in Jerusalem. And not Mikudeshet, the woman is not betrothed. This is because a Kohen does not own his portion of an offering. Rather, it is divine property that the Kohen is given permission to eat. Since it is not his, he cannot use it to betroth the woman. Likewise, the commentaries explain, a non-Kohen cannot betroth the woman with a parts of an offering that he may eat. Now, the Mishnah discusses whether Maaser Sheni, one of the portions that is removed from produce grown in Eretz Yisrael, can be used for Kiddushin. Now, just as a background, produce that grows in Eretz Yisrael may not be eaten until certain portions are removed from it. One of these portions is called Maaser Sheni. The owner must bring the Maaser Sheni to Jerusalem and eat it there, or exchange it for money which he brings to Jerusalem and uses to buy food to eat there, as the Torah describes in the book of Dvarim, chapter 14, verses 22 through 26. B'Maaser Sheni, if a man betroths a woman with Maaser Sheni, ben b'shogeg ben mizid, whether it is done unknowingly or knowingly, meaning whether or not the woman knows that it is Maaser Sheni, lo kidesh, he has not betrothed her, the betrothal does not take effect. Maaser Sheni, like offerings, is considered divine property and therefore cannot be used for Kiddushin. Divrei Rabbi Meir, these are the words of Rabbi Meir. Now the next Tana disagrees. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda says, Bishogeg lo kidesh, if she accepted it unknowingly, meaning she did not know that it was Maaser Sheni, he has not betrothed her. Since Maaser Sheni has certain restrictions, it could be assumed that she would not have agreed to accept it if she had known it was Maaser Sheni, so the Kiddushin was based on mistake and is not valid. She presumably does not want to accept produce that she'll have to take to Jerusalem. B'mizid Kiddush, however, if she accepted it knowingly, according to Rabbi Yehuda, he has betrothed her. According to Rabbi Yehuda, a person does own his Maaser Sheni. Therefore, if the woman knows that it is Maaser Sheni and still accepts it, the Kiddushin is valid. The Mishnah cites a dispute whether a man can betroth the woman with hekdesh, property of the temple, which is forbidden to be used for private purposes. Uv hekdesh, if a man betroths a woman with hekdesh, the Mishnah refers to money or items that are donated for the upkeep of the temple or other temple needs. The law is as follows. B'mezid kidesh, if he gave it to her knowingly, meaning they both knew it was hekdesh, he has betrothed her. Although a person is forbidden to use hekdesh for his own purposes, if he does use it, the item loses its holiness and no longer belongs to the temple. In return, he must repay the temple for the object. If he used it knowingly, he receives malkut. If he used it unknowingly, for example, he did not know that the object was hekdesh, he must repay its value plus a fine, and he must bring an Asham offering, as the Rambam writes in Rechot Me'ilah, chapter 1, Halakha 3. But again, what the Mishnah says is, if he gave it to her knowingly, meaning they both knew it was hekdesh, he has betrothed her, and even though a person is forbidden to use hekdesh for his own purposes, if he does use it, the item loses its holiness and no longer belongs to the temple. Therefore, if a man betroths a woman by giving her hekdesh, it loses its holiness and becomes the ordinary item, which can be used for Kiddushin, ufshogeg. But if it was given unknowingly, meaning either the man or the woman did not know that it was hekdesh, lo kidesh, he has not betrothed her, it is assumed that they would not have agreed to use that object had they known it was hekdesh, or the Kiddushin was based on a mistake and is not valid. Divrei Rabbi Meir, these are the words of Rabbi Meir. Now the next Tana holds that the reverse is true. Rabbi Yehuda says, B'shogeg Kiddush, if he gave her Hekdesh unknowingly, meaning he did not know it was Hekdesh, he has betrothed her because the item loses its holiness and becomes an ordinary object. Rabbi Yehuda holds that people do not necessarily object to using an item of Hekdesh for Kiddushin, despite the fact that its use is forbidden. Therefore, the Kiddushin is valid even though they did not know it was Hekdesh. B'mizid lo Kiddush, but if he gave it knowingly, meaning he knew that it was Hekdesh, he has not betrothed her, because using Hekdesh deliberately does not remove it from the temple's ownership. According to Rabbi Yehuda, Hekdesh that is used for private purposes loses its holiness only when the person uses it unknowingly. If he uses it knowingly, it does not leave the temple's ownership. Rabbi Meir disagrees. In his view, any misuse of Hekdesh causes it to lose its holiness. But again, according to Rabbi Yehuda, if he gave it unknowingly, he has betrothed her, but if he gave it knowingly, he has not betrothed her. Therefore, according to Rabbi Yehuda, if he gave it knowingly, it remains the property of the temple and cannot be used for Kiddushin. And the Rav tells us, regarding Maaser, the Halacha follows Rabbi Meir, and regarding Hekdesh, the Halacha follows the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. And that is the end of Mishnah Chet. Mishnah Tet lists various items that cannot be used for Kiddushin because it is forbidden to have benefit from them. Ham Kadesh Be'orla, if someone betrothed a woman with orla, fruit that grew during a tree's first 3 years. Now we know the Torah says in Vayikra, chapter 19, verse 23, it is forbidden to eat or have any other benefit from fruit that grows on a tree during the first 3 years after it is planted. Such fruit is known as orla. Bikilei kerem, or if you betrothed a woman with kilaim of a vineyard, produce that grew from a mixture of a vine and other plants. Now the Torah in Dvarim chapter 22 verse 9 teaches it is forbidden to plant grain next to a grapevine. If such a mixture is planted, whatever grows from it is prohibited for benefit. Beshor Niskal, or if you betrothed a woman with an ox that was sentenced to be stoned to death, for example, because it had killed a person. If a court determines that an ox killed a person, the ox must be stoned to death. Once it is condemned, it is forbidden for benefit. Even if the owner slaughters the ox before the court has a chance to stone it, its meat is forbidden. Ubegla rufa, if someone betrothed a woman with an egla rufa, decapitated calf. If a person is found murdered and the murderer cannot be found, the elders of the nearest town must perform the procedure of Igla Rufa, in which they take a calf to a rock-hard valley where they behead it and declare that they bear no responsibility for the murder. The procedure is described in the book of Dvarim, chapter 21, verses 1 through 9, and chapter 9 in Masechet Sotah. Once the calf is brought to the valley, it is prohibited for benefit. B'tzipore mitzorah, if someone betroths a woman with birds that a mitzorah brings to purify himself. A mitzorah is a person who has sarad, a type of skin disease that makes one tameh. It is described in the book of Vayikra, chapter 13. When the disease heals, he must undergo a purification procedure, as it describes in the book of Vayikra, chapter 14, verses 1 through 32. As part of this procedure, he brings 2 birds. One is slaughtered and the other is set free. The slaughtered bird is prohibited for benefit. Uvisar Nazir, or if one betroths a woman with a Nazir's hair. A Nazir is someone who accepts a vow of Nazirut, which prohibits him to drink wine or consume any part of a grape, become tameh from a corpse, and cut his hair. When the term of his vow is over, he undergoes a process in which he shaves all his hair, as the Torah describes in the book of Bamidbar, chapter 6, verses 1 through 18. There is forbidden for benefit. Upeta Chamor, or if someone betroths a woman with a firstborn male donkey. Now, one who owns a male donkey that is the firstborn of its mother must redeem it by giving a sheep or goat to a Kohen. If he does not want to redeem the donkey, it must be beheaded and its corpse is prohibited for benefit. Or if a person betroths a woman with a mixture of meat and milk that were cooked together, it is forbidden to eat or have any other benefit from a mixture of meat and milk that was cooked together. V'chulin shenishchatu ba'azara, if someone betrothed a woman with an ordinary animal, not an offering, that was slaughtered in the temple courtyard, it is prohibited to slaughter an animal that is not consecrated as an offering in the temple. If a person does so, its meat is forbidden for benefit. And nah mikudeshet. In all these cases, the woman is not betrothed. Since these objects are prohibited, they have no value and therefore cannot be used for Kiddushin. In the following case, though, the Kiddushin is valid. Micharan, if someone sold any of these items, Vikidesh bidmehen, and then betrothed the woman with the money he received for them, Mikudesha, she is betrothed, although it is forbidden to sell these things. If a person does sell them, he is allowed to benefit from the money he receives. That money can therefore be used for Kiddushin. And that is an Abotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen v'amen.